What's up guys, Aroneous here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and in today's video I want to go over the tournaments that's happening right now, and specifically the Ice Golem Tournament. Is it worth going for right now? And I'm going to showcase what rewards you can get, and then also what champions that you can utilize in the Undead Hordes if you have these champions. Of course, if you don't, then there are other champions you could potentially use if you have them in your tavern. I hope the night finds you guys all doing well. And consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. If you have been watching my channel for a while, thank you so much for watching. But yeah, definitely hit the notification bell as well. Leave a like on this video if you do like it. So let's get on with the video. So first, let's go to the tournaments here. And we've got the Ice Golem Tournament going on. It's been going on for the last day or two. I think maybe it started today or it started yesterday, but either way, we've got the using only champions from this faction, and it's Undead Hordes. So right now, I'm on my free-to-play main account, and I'm at 438 points. Ice Golem is very challenging, I will say. So, and it's one of the most boring dungeons, and the best thing that you can utilize to beat Ice Golem would be probably Bad Alcazar against the Ice Golem with Undead Hordes, because he places all those poisons. I'll take a look at the other champions as well to see what other good champions you can utilize. We've got Nan Yanoi at 1445, and this is one of the reasons why I actually personally would suggest for you to go for Ice Golem and take a look at your group. If it's far out of reach, the first, second, and third place, then of course maybe consider not going for it. But just looking at the right side here, if you're looking at what you can get for rewards, 100k silver in the first book here is not that great. For early game players, yeah, it's pretty good. But looking at the Ancient Shard, looking at these coins right here, these gold coins for the blessings, that's nice. And then also on top of that, a legendary skill tome. So getting that legendary skill tome would be massive for my account, and I'm sure massive for many of those accounts out there that are looking for resources, because skill tomes like this don't always drop very often from Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, unless you're getting a clan that downs the Ultra Nightmare every single day, and you're actually able to beat Ultra Nightmare every single day, which early game players probably aren't doing unless they have crazy good champions. And a lot of players just don't do Ultra Nightmare because you probably don't play the game all the time. So maybe you're only doing Ultra Nightmare once in a while, or maybe you're still stuck on Nightmare. So you're not getting that many legendary tomes as one would think. So I think there's a big disconnect between a lot of players who are like basically the top 10%. I call it the top 10%ers, and a lot of them are content creators, and they think, oh, everybody should be an Ultra Nightmare. Everybody should be getting a ton of legendary books. That's not true. And maybe content creators don't think that, but this is how I feel, that some people do believe that everybody's an Ultra Nightmare. Everybody should be getting legendary tomes all the time, but unfortunately that's not the case. So in my case here, Ice Golem Tournament, I believe personally that it's worth going for, especially if you only have someone at like 1400 points. That's not crazy, but it is a good amount. It is kind of crazy when it comes to only being able to utilize one faction, and most people don't have a crazy amount of champions from that faction, from one faction that is, that are fully maxed out. So kind of looking into my tavern, and if I'm going to showcase to you my faction, I'm going to go based on faction. I'm going to scroll down here, and I'll show you my maxed out champions. So we've got Knights Rev, we've got, let's see, where's Undead at? I might have passed them. There's Dwarves, there's Knights Rev, okay, there's Dark Elves, and there is Undead. Okay, so I have Bad Alcazar, I have Mashald, I have Mausoleum Mage, Husk, Seeker, Gorgorab, 2 Vogoths. I've got Vlad the Nightborn, Ultimate Death Knight, who is fantastic against Ice Golem, Scartorsis, the new Morrigan fusion that we just had, Elegaeus was an old fusion that I had, Crypt King Grawl, Suzerain Katoon, and Lich, and then a couple other Husk, and then another Gorgorab, so on and so forth. So I do actually have 2 Bad Alcazars. I would recommend utilizing a couple of battles as needed if you had them. But I'm going to showcase to you the team that I'm using right now. So I'm also, the other good thing about it is that you have a 2x chance to get reflex. So if you can farm some reflex at stage 20 or higher, that would be beneficial. Of course, I'm farming, I could potentially farm stage 25. My only issue is I've been doing stage 21. I actually haven't tried doing it on stage 25, but you can see right here that I'm also putting in food champions from undead hordes. So you can see that I've got Stitched Beast, I've got this chick here, Hexia, and I've also got Amaranthine Skeleton. Amaranthine Skeleton's not that great, but it's nice to have food because we have the champion training going on as well. So you want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And I'm doing 21 just fine. It does take between 2 and 4 minutes to do. Again, I haven't tried stage 25. If I wanted to, I would just go ahead and take this one out. I would go to include Master Vault, and I would end up just going down here and putting in my second Bad Khazar. Unfortunately, the second Bad Khazar is not built very well, and I would need to rebuild him, and I would also need to get him to rank 6 to be a better chance of winning stage 25, since he's positive affinity, and so is Ultimate Death Knight. He's also positive affinity, so if you're having struggles against the waves, you can use Ultimate Death Knight. Other champions that you could use, and really good champion actually, would be, let me actually go to the index, it might be easier from here. So from Undead Hordes, many of you out there may have other champs, so maybe you have Sifi, maybe you have all these different legendary champions. Is pretty awesome. You could also use Yoros, the Soul Cage. Every time he gets hit, he places a poison. He does have a decent kit. I'm not going to go into full detail on his kit because it's like reading a binder. And then if you scroll through here, some champions that are good. Of course, Vogoth is going to help in case you get slammed really hard. Vogoth does help with the healing. Husk, of course, he does have that enemy max HP, but you got to be careful with the Ice Golem, because if he uses that enemy max HP ability, it's going to do a ton of damage, but also most likely the Ice Golem is going to then whack you back and do insane damage if both of those side adds are still alive, and you might just die with 1 hit. You could also utilize Gorgorab if you make him really tanky and you have him with tons of HP. So stack him up with like 60k HP, have him going at 210 speed or more, and maybe he can assist you if you only have him. You could also try to put on Toxic Set on certain champions that you have. Dark Elhaine is good for the earlier stages. So Dark Elhaine, if you don't know about her, she has that crazy passive ability, instantly removes freeze debuffs on this champion, replaces them with crit rate, increased crit damage, strengthen whenever they are placed, and then fills the turn meter by 25% and instantly activates Death's Majesty skill whenever this champion or an ally receives a freeze buff. So if you wanted to, since she is a magic champion, you could go all the way down. Probably, I don't know how well it would do on the higher stages, but you might be able to go down to like 17, maybe 20. I don't know if 20 would work because you probably get slammed and killed instantly, but maybe 17. 20, you could try it. I don't know if it'll work, but stage 17 might work. If it doesn't work on stage 17, you can go a little bit further down, but poisons is really what you're going to want to bring to the table. HP burn could potentially assist you, but I think poisons is going to be where you want to be. But one of the best champions that you could get that's free to play friendly, super free to play friendly, is going to be a rare champion. And that champion is Frozen Banshee. So if you have Frozen Banshee, she's gonna help you tenfold against this boss. Now, I don't use her because she gets killed really easily and mine's not built. So mine's only rank 5 level 50, but she doesn't have good stats, doesn't have good gear on her. So I want to get her to rank 6 at some point, but just not right now, because I'm not trying to utilize her for just this one thing. I mean, in the future, maybe I'll have her maxed out and it'll make the run go a little bit faster because she has the poison sensitivity, which is massive. And then on the A1, she just keeps using this ability. The other issue is I don't think I have her fully booked on my account, so I would have to fully book her as well. Increased accuracy in all battles is nice too for a lower level account. And then you can also utilize Grave Chill Killer. She also has poison. She has decreased defense, 75% chance of placing a decreased defense instead if they're under a poison. And she places more poisons here as well. So Grave Chill Killer pairs really well with Frozen Banshee against the Ice Golem. So you could potentially use these two as a duo. And then if you have to use Grinner, if you're a really low level, he does a revive, which is nice. So he attacks all enemies, removes a random buff, which is not really necessary, but he also has resist and faction crypts, but that's not necessary. Increase attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. When he attacks one enemy, he has a 25% chance to do this. So that's kind of cool. Of course, you don't really want to have more damage against the Ice Golem, because the more damage you do, the more likely it is he's going to unleash his heavy hitting ability on your entire team. So having more poisons is probably more beneficial, but this is the real reason why you bring in Grinner, is to revive as needed. I just don't think, you know, he's going to be that great. He's okay. I would prefer to use Gorgorab over him. You do have Karam. I really don't like Karam because his big ability here that deals poison damage debuffs instantly on the target, it doesn't count like regular poison ticks. So because it's an attack, it's not like a Zavia, or no, not like one of the champions that does the poison explosion. Like Zavia does poison explosion, but I think she attacks for the poison explosion, so I don't think it works correctly. It deals damage from all poison debuffs on the target instantly. So that doesn't really work, because he'll use a big hitting ability on Zavia if she attacks. Maybe it is Elenarl. I think she might be a high elf. Yeah. Here it is. So deals damage from all poison debuffs on all enemies instantly. So if Karam had an ability like Elenarl, will it just deals the poison damage instantly without attacking, then that would be one of the best champions to utilize against Ice Golem. However, his ability doesn't work like Elenarl's ability, so it's really tough to utilize him against the Ice Golem on the later stages. So that kind of stinks. He's kind of out of the question in my opinion. You can still utilize him, he's just not that great. Defiled Sinner, meh, not that great. He has an enemy max HP ability, but he attacks all enemies inflicted damage equal to 15% of their max HP if the first hit kills an enemy. So this doesn't really work. Defiled Sinner is garbage. They need to completely rework him. He's got a garbage kit. Hexia, decreased defense, not that great. She just has a decreased defense on the A1. She's okay for just placing decreased defense only. I would prefer using like a Mausoleum Mage, because Mausoleum Mage at least can block the debuffs from the side adds, increase crit rate, increase defense, and removes all debuffs as well. So he's way better paired with Gorgorab against that stage 20 if needed. You can also use other champions down here like Seducer, a rare champion who has a sleep, he can sleep those side adds. He can place increased defense and block debuffs for 2 turns. Decrease attack of the boss is massive for mitigating damage, and block damage on himself and ally protection, but it's only available when Temptress is on the same team, so Temptress is not really that good. And I'll show you Temptress as well. I'm pretty sure she's here. Yeah, so Temptress, she only has a leech. It's halfway decent, but just not strong enough against Ice Golem. So I wouldn't even use her against Ice Golem at all. I would just use Seducer and hope that his abilities land these two here. Increase defense, block debuffs, and decrease attack. So those are just some champions I wanted to showcase. Let me know in the comments down below what sort of champions you guys are utilizing. And thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.